This is Business Watch brought to you by Nedbank Eswatini. In the studio, we have Nedbank's Treasury dealer Nozibusiso Dembo. We're just going to break down the markets. A very good afternoon to you, rather. The dollar continues. I know this is not your starting point, but let's start here before we can localize it to local markets. The dollar continues to prove strength against weaker currencies. We've got sanctions galore. We've got developments in Trump saying he struck a deal with Japan. Initially, he had threatened 25%, but now has brought the agreement down to 15%. Exactly, where does the rand or the lilangeni fit in any of this? Are we going to be impacted by automation developments in the coming future?
Thank you so much. So this is a volatile time in markets. I think the markets are very anxious right now. This whole week we've seen the ZAR gain strength, though, primarily as the market was anticipating inflation figures that came out today. Economists were expecting an inflation figure of 3%, which is exactly where it came out today. We also are awaiting the outcomes of the vote in Parliament for the appropriation bill, which is currently going on. There were tensions between the ANC and the DA relating to that, but those have seemingly subsided now, which is great. Last week, the DA was threatening to vote against all budgets for departments that are headed up by ANC members who are accused of wrongdoings or misconduct, centered around Nobuhle Ngabane, who was the former Minister of Higher Education, and she's now been removed from her position by President Cyril Ramaphosa. So we're seeing that that's now caused some harmony and some calmness between the ANC and the DA, and we're expecting the outcomes of that vote to be positive, and the rand is then strengthening because of that. Right. Abroad, as you have mentioned, the US and Japan have also reached trade agreements, as well as the Philippines, actually. Japan, like you said, 15% tariffs on them. They've also agreed to input $550 billion into the US economy, as well as to import rice from the US. The Philippines, on the other hand, received tariffs of 19%. But this is much lower than what Donald Trump initially proposed, so that's good. That's
good news, right?
Yeah.
All right. Now, you're a numbers person. Let's get into the figures. What do we have today?
So on the side of the US dollar against the IZL, we have that trading at 17.5411. The GBP against the IZL is trading at 23.7340, and the euro against the IZL is trading at 20.5791. Locally, though, our Minister of Finance has also announced that, has approved the change of the Treasury bills calendar, where all tenures for Treasury bills will now be issued on a weekly basis. So before, they would interchange. So now they are all available on a weekly basis. So I think locally, in our own market, it'll be now interesting to see what effect that'll have on the Treasury bill results and the money market locally in the next few weeks.
Where do we see the lilangeni heading probably by the end of year? What could be driving this trajectory?
So we've got a lot of things all happening at the same time, which is very difficult then to anticipate where it'll end up. A lot of things currently hinge on what happens on the 1st of August regarding the tariff negotiations in the US, because whatever happens there affects everybody else. It affects inflation in every country. It affects inflation in the US. It affects GDP. All of these things linked together. So I think the direction will be clearer on the 1st of August.
All right, fair enough. Now let's go to commodities. How are we looking in that regard?
On the side of commodities, we've got oil, which has been edging higher, primarily due to the focus on the US's trade negotiations with its key trade counterparties. Oil is currently trading at $71.86 per barrel. We've got gold trading at $3,421.24 per ounce, and the price of gold has also been rising. In fact, yesterday it reached a 5-week high due to the trade uncertainty that's currently going on. But we did see it lose a bit of momentum early this morning, primarily due to the announcement of the trade agreement between the US and Japan, as well as the Philippines. So it's sort of lost that safe haven demand that it was thriving off of. But economists are also saying that the increase in the price of gold, coupled with the decrease in the US dollar, or the slump of the US dollar, might also be a result of the BRICS countries increasingly having conversations around changing policies or implementing policies that are against the US dollar, or that are de-dollarizing, essentially. So the expectation from economists is perhaps those two are related. There is a correlation there.
Now, in terms of equities, how are things looking?
On the side of equities, we have our S&P 500 showing relatively positive performance as well, primarily on the back of a strengthening US dollar. We have our FTSE as well showing positive performance. These gains are due to the heavyweight mining sector, again on the price of increasing copper prices in Europe. And we also have the JSE All Share Index showing slight decrease, but very slight. And it's also gaining from a positive rand. So because the rand is strengthening, the JSE All Share Index is also showing decent
You mentioned de-dollarization earlier. You know, we've got the whole conversation on BRICS. How much of a threat is that to the US dollar?
Sure. I think it really is. It is, and I think that's you see that in the fact that President Donald Trump wanted to impose 10% tariffs on countries that are affiliated with BRICS. So I think they do have a significant influence, and there would be an impact if they were to go in that direction. And you can see that Trump is not really, he's trying to make sure that that doesn't happen. So the impact is quite immense.
Nozibusisa, thank you very much for your insights. We'll also be keeping an eye on these developments as we progress with our business programs. Now, we'll be seeing you shortly after this.
Digital helps you make cross-border payments. Human gives you global specialists. Digital allows you to apply for a